through you, because that is actually a lesson that I'm starting to perfect. And I've went to seminars, I've sat down with individuals that I consider wise or that I look up to, and I've asked that same question, those types of questions, like how do you, right? And it's almost like God is like, okay, now this is your answer, but I'm going to answer through you. Okay, I just want to tell you that. This is how you do it in regards to budgeting. Okay, number one, I have now been working on making sure I tithe, making sure that I give a certain percentage, be it also with my money, but then also even like with my clothing. Like I'm becoming more, let's say, open to giving and not counting the loss, or not even looking at it as a loss, considering it a blessing to be able to give. Okay, so when you have that mindset that it is a blessing that you're able to give, it's a blessing that you're able to pay your tithes, right? You want to make sure that you're giving back to God before you start your budgeting, because whatever God, when you acknowledge him first, whatever he is, let's say, in the forefront of, everything else that's added in is going to be blessed. Okay, so that's number one. And then just as you put aside 10%, and you give that back to God, put aside 5% for yourself. Literally, as an example, you're making 3,000 every 2 weeks. You sold 300, and then you sold 150 into yourself. Put that away into your savings. Don't touch it, like under no circumstances, unless it is an emergency, but you first have to start with also discovering the goal. What is your why? Because what keeps you disciplined should be the why, the purpose of why you're even doing it. Are you just saving to just be saving, so you want to brag about how much you have in your savings account? Or are you saving because you have a why, you have a goal in mind? What's your goal? So can I ask you that? Is there a certain goal that you have in mind?
Yes. So I would like to save a emergency fund, and I would just like to save up for like vacations and stuff.
Yeah.
And then also me being a business owner and moving forward with my business, I want to save a little bit more when it comes to the percentage that I will have to put down, either if I decide to get a building or if I decide to seek out commercial retail store.
Yeah, property. So I would do, this is honestly being in your shoes. To be honest, I am in your shoes, right? I'm an entrepreneur. Also with having your home, but having emergency funds. Okay, so as if I'm speaking to you as I would speak to myself. Okay, definitely put aside that 5% for you. Then now we're gonna go back into it. Put aside another 5% for the emergency funds, because you're saving up so that you can have for your commercial property. That's a goal right there. So you sit down with a realtor, you find out how much am I going to need for this, and whatever amount they give you, then you start that plan right there. Okay, how long in a reasonable time? Don't put too much stress on yourself, right? But how long in a reasonable time can I get up to, if they say your down deposit has to be $5,000? Okay, realistically, how long is it going to take me to have this $5,000? Now, I've come up with a large amount of money within like a month to a month and a half, and it shocked me before. Some things went over, I'm not going to say overlooked, some things were pushed to the side as if like, okay, I can pay this later, or let me get this handled now. I've had those kind of experiences, but when you are down to, like, let's say like the point of desperation, or a real serious situation hit, you'll be surprised with how you think of ways to come up with money. And also how God, the universe, I would say God, how he sends money into your life. I just had that example happen to me the other day within this week. I told my daughter about it. I got like an unexpected $200 something check in the mail. And I was like, wow. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's the little things. Now, you can take that and just be foolish with it and go spend it on something that you know that you don't need. Or you can put it to the side and say, I got this here for when I do need it. Gift cards that I receive, put it to the side, use it for when you do need it. So having that mindset to use what you need versus what you want, that's going to help with the I would say with just having like the money just to be a regular human being with. But definitely give your 10% to whatever religious institution that you belong to, because you want to make sure, again, you acknowledge God first. And I'm not saying this because it sounds cute and it's in the Bible, but it really is the truth. When you acknowledge God first, he opens up doors for you that blow your mind. 5% of that, right? 5% goes to you in your savings for your emergency funds. Your other 5% or whatever you need it for, like, goes to that goal. So find out that commercial property. It may be more than 5%. It may be 20% that goes towards that. Whatever that goal is, and get to it quickly, right? Because you don't want to sit too long on it. Like handle that business, knock it out. And then you also said for a vacation, that definitely is going to be more than 5%, right? But even with that, that's a goal. A good vacation may cost you a good, what, 1,500. You know, maybe that be about maybe 2.5 checks. Put certain money to the side. You get 500 here, 500 there. You know, maybe 250 from this check goes to this. You know, whatever their payment arrangement is for the vacation. And just adjust properly, but just make sure that you don't stress yourself out while doing it. Because the cool thing about, again, with putting God first, what he'll do is he'll send people into your life to give unto you. I really do. It's not just about believing in it. I know about that because that's the life that I am in right now. God makes it look easy through my life, but the truth is, Kalia, I have a lot of moments of, okay, God, how we finna make? I'm rubbing these pennies together. How I'm finna make this happen? And then the unexpected checks hit, or someone just wakes up, they were blessed, and they just say, Mel, I just wanted to send this to you. I love you. Sis, I love you. Whatever, right? Or I ask someone for something and they give it to me versus allowing me to loan it, you know, from them. It's just like, no, I want to bless you. I mean, it'd be the weirdest things. Like you just never know. So that's how I would handle it. But I do want to say this before we wrap up. Don't forget your goal. That's why, you know, outside of acknowledging God first and making sure you do that 10%, and it's crazy because we're talking about budgeting and saving, but all I keep talking about is giving, right? I started off with giving first. It's ironic. But acknowledge God first, and then discover your why, your goal, and adapt accordingly. And if it's about emergency funds, 5%, because you just never know when an emergency may pop up. It's like the necessary evil. It's like insurance, right? Insurance is like, it's like, oh my God, I gotta pay you. I'm not guaranteed to get into an accident. I'm not planning to have an accident, but when it does happen, or if it does happen, at least I have the insurance. That's how an emergency fund is. I don't know when it's gonna pop up, but if I keep living, usually an emergency is gonna pop up. And you don't know when you're gonna have to use that. So you don't know when you're gonna be back down to zero, or half of that emergency fund. So no matter what, always give 5% to yourself. And I had to learn this the hard way. 5% to yourself is not buying yourself something. 5% 5% of yourself is not stocking up your house with lovely clothes and shoes. And I learned that the hard way, Kalia. But I'm happy that I did. And since learning that, I've been giving. It's crazy how when the Bible says it's a blessing to give rather than to receive, because God, the universe, karma, whatever, what you do always comes back to you. Life is definitely, it's a never ending cycle of you get what you give out. You get what you give out. You give, you get it back in the weirdest ways, but you get it back. So we have to always be careful of what we give out first. But if you want God to bless your finances, and if you want to be better with budgeting and all that, give unto him first, because you get what you give out. You acknowledge him first, he directed every path after that. It really, again, it sounds commercialized. It sounds like, girl, I tell you, been in church all your life. No, but it's the real stuff, because I've applied it to my life and I live it. Yeah. Kalia, I love these conversations that we have.
Yes, I love them too.
We have the best of conversations. All getting my nails done. I love it. Anything else?
No, that would be all. You covered everything. I appreciate that.
Awesome. Now, real talk, I'm always here, and I'm happy that, number one, it's crazy that you asked me. That's why I said it, because I'm still mastering what I'm saying. However, I don't say what I don't live. You know what I mean? I don't like hypocrites, and I don't like to be one. So if I say it, I mean it. If I say it, now God has held me accountable to it. So that's why I start chuckling to myself, because he knows me. I'm that child of his that if she say it, now it's going to be on her. She ain't doing it. And she don't want to look in the mirror and look at her own self with disrespect. So, yeah, that's why I'm like, yo, thank you, God, for teaching me through me. Because now I gotta do it. And when we think about it and we process what he's saying, it makes a lot of good sense to save in that way. It really do. So as you're being helped, I'm being helped. And that's how we bossing up together. Period. Yes, love it. So I love you, Kalia. Thank you for the conversation.
No problem.